Shalom, everybody. I apologize in advance for the quality of this broadcast. I don't have the microphone, we'll have it later on. So, I'll do my best. Today we're going to discuss about the laws of Purim. Purim is right around the corner within, I would say, a week. One more week. And there's many halachot. People ask me every year, I have the same questions. Who is obligated to hear the Megillah? Man, woman? How many times? In the evening, in the morning, only in the evening, both, 3 times, 2 times, once, from what age? What about Machzit shekel? There's a donation everybody gives. It's called Machatzit shekel. How much is it? Let's say around, I don't know, $5, $10, $6 per person. Can I use, some people want to give it $100, $50, doesn't matter how much, but they want to give it with credit card. They want to give it with check. Is it good enough? Because there is some coins you lift, and you say, Zecher Machatzit shekel, you put down, and what should I do after? Can I put a check? What about credit card? Can I pay before or I'll pay after? Is it enough that I make a commitment to make the payment? And so forth and so on. Any other questions that you guys have? What about a pregnant woman? She gives for herself and for the baby that she didn't deliver yet? We'll see. What about someone that have no clue whatsoever in Hebrew? He doesn't understand Hebrew. In one hand, he needs to hear the Megillah. On the other hand, he does not understand the word, the Chazan, the Shtei Tzibur saying. Is he fulfilling the mitzvah just by listening, he or she? I don't understand. You know, the Halacha says that you must understand what you're saying. You can say it in any language. All the brachot and the tefillot are formed originally in Hebrew. But because of the exile, people speak many languages. So can I say bracha over wine or bracha over any other type of food in my language? English, French, Russian, Arabic? So the answer is yes, absolutely yes. You must say it in the language you understand. There is one thing you say only in Ivrit. One thing. You will not fulfill the mitzvah. לא את המצווה, אם אתה לא, do it in Hebrew. Which one is it?
Megillah.
One pasuk. You say it at least 2 times a day. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. This one has to be said in Ivrit. Sanctify, unify Hashem's name, and so forth. Okay? Then you can read the Shema in English. You understand? Okay. And then we'll talk about Bezach. I don't know if we'll be able to finish everything today. I'm just picking up here and there the most important halachot. If you have questions, let me know. And we'll discuss Bezach about the fast. We have a fast day next week on Wednesday. Always, before reading the Megillah, there is a fast day. It's called Ta'anit Esther, Fast of Esther, which means from dawn, Alot HaShahar, you don't eat, you don't drink. Okay, you may brush your teeth carefully, not to swallow anything. And till the evening, read the Megillah, and right after you can eat and drink. It's a fast of Esther. Who is obligated? Who is exempt? What about Mishloach Manot? When to give Mishloach Manot? In the evening, many comes at the evening, he listens to the Megillah reading, and then they take advantage when everybody in the shul, they start to give out Mishloach Manot. Okay? This is a mistake. Mishloach Manot is only during the day. What to give in the Mishloach Manot? What's the minimum required to fulfill the mitzvah? And how many people I have to give? What about matanot la'avyonim? To give to the poor. To whom I give it? Who is poor? I don't know. For that, Baruch Hashem, you have Ohev Israel to get to take care of it for you. So when we get there, we'll discuss how to put it, what's the minimum, it's very important. Okay? And any other questions that you might have, you either write to me, it's a live broadcast, and here in class. Okay, so let's start with saying that there's a charity donated as a reminder of Mahatzita Shekel. They used to give to the Beit HaMikdash for the Mishkan, the tabernacle, or the temple maintenance. So everyone has a share. Why it's called Mahatzit? Half. Why half shekel? Why half shekel? Give a whole shekel. Why half? It says in the Torah, everybody gives half. The poor, the rich. The rich one says, I want to give 100,000. No, this time you give only half. Why? So you won't feel that you are the only one in this world that can do something. You're half, and the other guy half, together, it's complete. You only half. It's like before you get married. Before you get married, it says in the Zohar, you called Palga Gufa. Palga Gufa means you are half body. When you become Adam, a man, when you get married, you find your Basher, right? You find your Shidduch, you find your soulmate. Then you become a whole. כתוב שלכן קראם Adam. It says in the Torah, in the book of Genesis, Bereshit, that then Hashem called them after they become together, a man. Before that, you're half. Also, in Machatzit Shekel, we give 3 Machatzit Shekel because the Torah mentioned that, said 3 times. How much to give? It's vary. It's vary. So some give $18, corresponding to Chai. Chai, it's a good sign. So you live for a long time. Some like give $26. It's the gematria, the numerical value of the word Hashem, the letters of Hashem. It's also a good sign. Some give 2 Chai. It depends, up to you. It's customary to give. A member, the head of the household, give for himself and to his children, even when they're young, even when it's still in his mother womb. Didn't born yet. It's a good segula, it's a good merit for good health and success, and Hashem see how much you care about him and Beit HaMikdash. He care about you. If I give $2-3 is good enough, yes. But you know, when you give little, you get little. You give much, you get from Hashem much. It is a very simple math. If you can't afford much, Hashem knows that you can't afford. But if you can, it's a different story. Okay. In case you don't know what to do with it, you can always bring it to me or to the Gabbai in the Beit HaKnesset, and they'll know what to do it for you. Woman must give money as a reminder of the mitzvah of Machatzit Shekel, as well as man. It is best that one gives money on behalf of one's small children as well, as we said before. Okay? Now, the money marked for the custom of remembering the mitzvah of Machatzit Shekel should be given to Torah institutions and yeshivot, where Torah scholars are cultivated. So what I do when I get this money, I calculate how much you got from Machatzit Shekel, Ohev Israel, and I give it to someone that he sit and study Torah. Okay? So everybody, if you know someone in your family, do it, give it to him. If you don't know, if you want me to take care of it, I'll be glad to, as we do every year. Questions so far? Okay? So, the laws of the Megillah, is it a must? Is it חובה לקרוא Megillah? But I don't know how to read the Megillah with all the vowels and to be accurate, every word, and to be talented for it. To be special for it. This year, Bezrat Hashem, Aviran Zohar will read for us. He is talented. He knows exactly how to read all the vowels. Very accurate. So Baruch Hashem, we're blessed. The years before we had Avraham Elbaz that also knows it very, very good. So you have to make sure to come on time. If you miss one word of the Megillah, you didn't fulfill the mitzvah. But there's a lot of noise, even during the Megillah. Every time it goes on, people go berserk, people go crazy, and they're making so much noise. Well, the Hazan knows what to do. You repeat the words. You must have a chumash before you, or a kosher Megillah. If you miss any word, you look in the Megillah in front of you, and you complete the word, the missing words. Okay? It's forbidden to talk at all from the beginning, the first blessings, till finishing reading the Megillah and the last blessing. If you talk, it's considered as a break, and there's a problem with your mitzvah. You have to be very, very quiet. In case of an emergency, something happens, try to signal someone. If you have to talk, and it really is something emergency, you have to talk, okay? But focus on the Megillah. We're talking about 40, 35, 40, 45 minutes at most. And you did your mitzvah, you did your share. Okay? You know, people sitting for 2 hours, or 1 hour, 1.5 hours, watching a movie, they don't say a word. Shh! They're so dedicated to a movie. They don't want to miss anything. And they rewind, to hear what they say, the actor. This is a Megillah reading. You think when you come before Hashem, He will ask you, how many movies you watched? Do you have the list on you? Really interesting. Megillah, Tefillot, this is our obligation. So you have to be very, very careful about it. If you sit in a noisy place in the Bet Knesset, find another spot. Make sure to come early, to find a good spot to hear the cantor. Okay? Someone missed reciting Megillat Esther during the night, which is going to be next week on Wednesday, 2018. What's going to be the date? 28. The 28th? Yeah. Wednesday 28, 2018. It's going to be in the evening. We're going to, B'ezrat Hashem, send an update. What time? It's going to be a second Megillah reading for women. We're not sure yet where it's going to be held. Aviran offered me to do it in his home. Maybe it's going to be in the Bet Knesset. We'll see how many ones want to come for the second Megillah in the morning and so forth and so on. But we'll see. So if someone misses the Megillat Esther in the evening, can he read it tomorrow, the next day, twice? If someone misses during the night, there is no way to compensate for it during the day. Usually with tefillot, that's what you need to do. For example, if I miss now the tefillah of Arvit, I can always complete with the following tefillah, which means in the morning, I say, oh my God, I didn't pray last night. So I do the Shmoneh Esrei, the Amidah prayer in the morning, finish, wait for a few seconds, and start Amidah for the evening I missed. What if I miss Shacharit? So I can compensate on Mincha. If I miss a Mincha, I can compensate on it. Always the one after. What if I miss Shacharit? And I pray Mincha, and now it's time for Arvit. I say, oh, I forgot to say Mincha twice. Can I do Arvit twice? No, that's it, you missed it. Because the tefillot are corresponded to the korbanot, to the sacrifices. Since today there is no temple, there is no sacrifices. What is the alternative? What do we do instead of korbanot? We do prayers, as it says in the prophet, "Uneshalema farim sefatenu." Instead of the korbanot, the words, the lips are moved with tefillah. It compensates for the korbanot. So when you daven, when you pray every day, it's like you give sacrifice before God. Okay? This mitzvah of reading the Megillah is mandatory for everyone. Okay? It's the preferred manner of fulfilling the mitzvah of reciting the Megillah is to recite it together with a large congregation. Okay, the Halacha expects one to sacrifice one's time for the sake of this precept, even at the expense of one's Torah study. Oh, I can't come in the middle of Torah learning, I'm giving the class. No, you have to stop, close the book, and go to the Bet Knesset, to the shul, to hear the Megillah reading. Okay. Next. Who is obligated to recite Megillat Esther? All Jews are obligated to recite Megillat Esther on Purim, including men, women, converts, and former non-Jewish slaves who have since been freed and now have the status of converts. This is the old time. Okay? They are obligated to train children to perform this mitzvah as well. Okay. You know that every year I have women asking me the same question. I don't know why they keep forgetting every year. Thinking that they are exempt from the Megillah. But for them it's chovah, it's mandatory. Why it's mandatory? It's very simple. Our sages taught in the tractate of Megillah that women are obligated in the reciting of the Megillat Esther. Since why? Who can give me the answer? They were also involved in that miracle. Basically, actually, the miracle was performed by, thanks to Esther. Esther, she is a woman. Thank God. Okay, she was able to do what she did, following the instructions of Mordechai, and we were saved. You know, it was supposed to be a great destruction to the Jewish people. Another a Holocaust, no less than that, to execute everybody. Haman didn't care about the Torah. He said, you want to study Torah? Study Torah. I want to go to shul. He didn't close the shuls. He didn't close the yeshivot. He didn't say anything. Don't worry. I will take care of you soon. The plan was almost a year later. Since the decree came out, how long after he died? You know that it was Pesach, it was Passover. Instead of making matzot, I used to do matzot when I was a child. Our matzot, the Sephardi matzot, and even the original Ashkenazi matzot, the Yemenite matzot, is flexible. It's like tortilla. That's the original, not the cardboard we're eating today. You can choke to death. I'm telling you. And now you can do korech with it. I do korech. Korech is to fold it over the lettuce. You can do it with it breaks. So anyways, the Jewish people, instead of sitting together and doing a seder, Ma nishtana halayla mikol halelot, they fasting. You know, you fast on Yom Kippur, not long ago. Okay? How was it? Not so easy. We're talking about 26, 28 hours sometimes. You don't drink, you don't eat, nothing. Did you try to do it for a day and a half? 36 hours? How about 48 hours? Can you do that? Can you do that 3 days? One day you go crazy. They fasted for 3 days.
Wow.
Men and women and children, everybody.
No water?
But they were fasting, meaning nothing. You don't eat, you don't drink. If you drink, it's not a fast.
Can you survive that one? You can survive that one?
You know, I was asking myself
Can
the
be
same
without water
question
for like an hour.
many years ago, and I said, how do they survive? Someone told me that science proved that people can live without food for, I don't know, a week or so, without water for 2 weeks or something. And then I saw a video, I mentioned that to you. I saw a video on I think it was an earthquake in Haiti, an island. Many died, and they show after 3 weeks the bulldozers taking the destructions away, the buildings, and it was and there was a guy there still alive after 3 weeks, 21 days. You can see it. You can Google it. He couldn't move. He didn't drink. He didn't eat. And the bulldozer, when he lifted one of the buildings, I don't know, cement, big pieces, he was waving. Of course, the Red Cross came there. They took him out, and he was still waving to the cameras. 21 days. Almost a month.
Wow.
Not drinking, nothing. You know, when Hashem wants someone to live, they would live against nature and everything. If Hashem wants someone to go, if Hashem summons someone for a meeting, they can't do anything.
But you hear about people dying from dehydration from like such a short time.
I just said, it depends on Hashem's will. But you can see that the body can survive. Now, I guess he was laying, he didn't move muscle. So, but dehydration is, if someone moves, is very active, it burns calories and all the juice out of his body. It's very dangerous. Anyways, so 3 days is very, very hard, but they did it. So instead of sitting around the table and singing in the 4 cups, Mordechai said to Esther, what are you doing? You are declaring a fast for 3 days. This is Passover. I'm in the middle of preparing matzot. She said to him, are you serious? There's going to be no nation to celebrate Passover. This is the most tense time ever. We have to do, what we got to do. The power of fasting and tefillah can break all the mechitzot, all the screens in Shamayim, and change a very hard and harsh decrees. Meshane gzerot. So they did it, and instead of sitting and saying, Ma nishtana, Haman is so happy. Why is he so happy? Because a year from now he's going to kill all the Jews. All the Persians start already to calculate who's going to take what from their Jews' neighbor. The Jews were very wealthy. Many of them had stores and land and vineyard and so much wealth. He says, I'm taking the Kohens, I'm taking the Levites, I'm taking this guy, I'm taking this guy. They start to divide the property, the real estate. They start to sharpen their knives and sword. Every time a Jew passes in the street, they look at him and says, just wait until your date. You can imagine how the Jews feel? It was horrible. Haman made the decree. How long after he was hanged? Who knows? I tell you. Between 3 to 4 days. Many think that it happens a year later. That's not true. Because they fasted right after they heard about the decree. And after the first day they fasted, they did the second fast day. Esther came with Achashverosh and Haman for a drinking party. She didn't say anything. She said, let's do another one. And then the second one, when he fell on her bed and Achashverosh got upset, he was hung. So some between 3 to 4 days after. When Hashem says, I don't need you to do the 3 days. As long as you accept upon yourself that, it's enough for me. I'll take care of it now. By the way, why Esther didn't say anything at the second day? Why waited for the third day? Then she said, she shared with Achashverosh her concern that someone is trying to kill her and her nation. Because at the second day, Haman was very happy he was so happy because his family was supporting him, and he prepared a very big tree, 50 amot, which is around 25 meters high, above his palace, to hang his enemy Mordechai. He was so happy about it. He came to the party. He saw him smile. Esther saw him smiling. She saw that the mazal, the luck, is with him. So he said, "This is not the right time. He have a good energy now. It's not a good time. When it's a good time, we will be sad. We will be upset. When it happens, the second day, when he was supposed to go, I don't want to tell the whole story. The Megillah, you know it. When he had to take Mordechai with the horse, and he changed the clothes for him. His daughter throw, the small pot with waste on his head. Maybe we'll discuss it next time. And he was very upset. His daughter made a suicide, and he came when he was worn and stinky. His face was looked so bad. After have to take his enemy that he plans to hang, he saw his face, and she said, "This is the right time to do it." And Baruch Hashem helped. So we trust in God, and with extra actions like fasting and praying, you can change anything in your life. You can take a bad decree and turn it upside down to become a good decree. Not only that the Jews were saved from the enemy, they were able to kill off many of their enemies, those who were sharpening the knives and the sword, and they could take their property, but they didn't touch. To show that it was nothing to do with money. And the Jews were so powerful, living in someone else's country. Many of the non-Jews become Jewish. ורבים בני העמים מתייהדים. Their God is so powerful, it's unbelievable. So many convert to Judaism because of that. Okay? Question, what time is it, by the way? 13. Okay, let's do 2 more minutes. So, we already said that everyone is obligated to listen to all the berachot before and after. You have to say Shehecheyanu. Parents are obligated to train their children to listen to Megillat Esther. What do you mean, to bring little children? Yes. Why it's a mitzvah? Because even a child, when he's 4 years old, 5 years old, when he just learn how to speak, but he sit in the Beit Knesset, in the shul, and he's listening to the Megillah reading, the Neshama, accept this Kedusha, this holiness, and it all depends on the environment we and the children live in. If they live in a kibbutz, they're going to be like in a kibbutz, or in Moshav, in the big city, or in the desert, among people or without people. It depends who's around, who's influencing you. So you want to have your children around Torah. What do you mean? What if they don't understand? They do understand. Today, science proof what the Gemara and the Zohar already told us many years ago. For example, I'll give you an example. There was a mother of, I think it was Amorah, that she came pregnant to the Beit Knesset, and she raised her child in a crib in the Beit Knesset in the women's section. She did her job there, kneading or whatever she did. She wanted her son always to hear the sounds of tefillah, the sounds of Torah learning, and he became the greatest scholars of that generation. He absorbed Torah and Kedusha from young age. It was for me hard to understand till I became a father. How? I've noticed something very interesting. When I had my first baby girl, Seppi, so I remember that every time she was crying, it's with all the children. When they hear the voice of her mother, or myself, they stop for a second. They recognize the voice. But hold on, she's 2 years old. I'm sorry, 2 days old. 3 days old. How they can recognize? When they got it? when they had the opportunity to hear my voice or her voice. She heard the doctor, she heard the nurses, and the people around us. You know when? When they were still in the womb.
Yeah.
For almost a year. 9 months, 8 months, 7 months. I'm telling you. And science proved that the kids can be influenced from everything they hear when they're in the body. Depending on what music you can let them listen to, what's the environment. From very young age. So the neshama listens. Okay? Of course, children that are younger than the age of chinuch, if they are 4 years or 5 or 3, they're making too much noise, they can't see it, don't bring them. Or make sure they'll be in another room. Because if your child makes noise, and someone else won't listen, won't be able to hear, or miss a word because of your child, it's on you. Not on him, it's on you. We're not supposed to bring him to shul. Unfortunately, as many times we're saying that, people still bring it, the little children. But what can we do? It says that children who are younger than the age of chinuch should not be brought to the synagogue at all for the reciting of the Megillah. You see how much important it is to listen to the Megillah. Beside the fact that there is no mitzvah at all in training them to listen to the Megillah at this age, the only thing this accomplishes is that the children create a disturbance and bother older people who are obligated to sit in silence and listen to the reciting of the Megillah. So, thank you. If you know that your child is capable, bring them. I remember myself from very young age in the shul. From 3 years old. 3 years old, I don't remember 3 years old, but I know that my father brought me from very young age. It's all with the old Yemenite and Hasidic movement in America and Israel. 3 years old, they go to the Mori, they go to the Cheder. By the age of 5, you already know how to read Ivrit. Okay? It's nothing new I'm telling you right now. But there's what's the responsibility of the parents to be sometimes tough with the children so they won't make noise. If you can't be tough enough with your children, leave them home. Okay? ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהכל נהיה בדברו. I missed that. תודה רבה. Okay. I think we will stop here and we'll continue our next part of the class talking about Chotz Tzadikim. It's also going to be short, but we'll talk about the value of simcha, joy. It's time of Adar. Adar, it's a time we're increasing the amount of joy that we have. משנכנס Adar, מרבים בשמחה. We'll see you live, Bezrat Hashem, in a few minutes. תודה רבה. On behalf of Ohev Israel Foundation, I want to thank you, everybody, for participating in Torah classes.